All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the WRK podcast, where we ask the questions about the day, who really knows. As always, I'm your host, AJ, here with my good friend, Dylan.
Hello.
Michael could not make it today, but we are joined by Chef Boyardena, or Baker's Dozen.
Baker's 12, hell yeah.
How are you doing, Dana?
Doing good. Happy to be here, AJ.
Little do you know, he's a resident Aleister Crowley expert.
Totally. I spent all of 30 minutes.
Just small rituals and shit here and there.
So before we delve into this Aleister Crowley 2.0, follow us on Twitter at WRKPod, on Instagram at WRKPodcast. Hit up the Patreon, patreon.com/WRKPod, and visit our website, WRKPodcast.com. All the links to everything is going to be in the description of whatever you're watching us on, so you have no excuse not to click on it. I'm just saying.
Yeah. It's a good site.
I spent like a whole 5 hours working on it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's check it out.
But yeah, well, we're gonna jump into some Aleister Crowley and some black magic here shortly.
And
We're back. Aleister Crowley, the wickedest man in the world, part 2. Where did we leave off last week? Do you remember, Dylan?
No, which is really weird. 'Cause I feel like we usually don't do our second parters, right after the first one.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't even know.
Would you mind giving me a little recap on what we're talking about?
Perfect. That
Yeah.
works.
Good.
amazingly.
Yeah. Great idea.
So Aleister Crowley is known as the Master of the Damned, the most wicked man in the world. Some other nicknames, some fun ones, some cool ones. I don't know, just some exciting nicknames this man had.
Stuff you'd want to name your kid after.
Yeah, he was a black magician, a drug fiend, a sex addict, and a traitor to the British people. So yeah, that's why we talked about him, because he's interesting as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
He was born in 1875 to a wealthy brewing family in the Victorian era. His parents were devout Christians, and he wanted to be like his father, who died when he was a young kid, which kind of led to him being anti-Christian at that point. It's like, you killed my father, prepare to die, Enigma Montoya style.
Kind of wanted to be a leader.
All right. Kind of following
saving the people.
His father was a preacher, right?
Yeah, traveling preacher.
All right. So probably want to follow in his footsteps in his own way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like to quote the late, great Kanye West on this one. There's leaders and there's followers, but I'd rather be a dick than a swallower. Crowley was a swallower. He was bisexual, which put off a lot of people at that time because they didn't understand sexuality.
Right.
Especially in fucking the
90s at that point.
Way back in the day.
When he was banging his dorm mate at Cambridge.
Who was a cross-dresser, so I mean, was it gay? I don't know. Was it really gay? Who really knows?
Or was he just fucking a really ugly chick that everyone thought was a guy?
that could have been very possible. Who the fuck knows?
So the only thing that he ever did to stand out at Cambridge was getting expelled for contracting gonorrhea from a prostitute.
Word travels fast.
Yeah. Should I redo the poem? You want to hear the poem that I wrote?
Yes.
I would like to hear this poem.
All right. So when Celia comes, this earthquake's hour. The bed vibrates like kettle drums. It's a grand display of power when Celia comes. When Celia farts, my hasty nose sniffs up the fragrance of the parts. Shamed are the violets and the roses when Celia farts.
This guy's
He's a freak.
His poems are amazing.
Real works of art. painted a nice picture there.
You see all them shitty, like when people like buy their first house and they have like that, like those tacky, you know, like this is my family, blah 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 poem, like that they like tape on the wall or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like a
cliche type of.
I want that.
Live, laugh, love.
Yeah, shit like that.
That's amazing.
When Celia farts, the flower, the roses, and the violets are shamed. Oh god, that'd be amazing. Just have that in your bathroom, like above the toilet.
I'm surprised that poem like didn't just go fucking worldwide instantly. It was just like an instant hit.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't see anyone
re-release it to the culture today. They'll eat it up.
How do we not already have like posters of this somewhere? Like,
yeah, back then it was fucking ashamed to be talking about stuff like this. Now there's dudes running around with shirts that say ass eating season.
Right. I still haven't seen like much of his other poems and shit, but I want to find more
he's
like
got
that.
like a diary or a journal.
Just do like a whole podcast just reading his poems and laughing.
Well, I mean, like, God, I wish we had more of them close by, but that shit's probably hard to come by a little bit. At least ones that were as good as that.
Yeah, I mean, if all of them were that fucking funny, I would buy all of them. Get them on an Amazon tablet and just fucking have it right here and read them.
Poem of the day by Aleister Crowley.
Dude, we just need to start writing our own. We already know what works. Like, this obviously works. Okay, we just need to capitalize on it.
Yeah.
Talking about coming and farting in the same sentence, it gives me goosebumps.
Oh fuck. At Cambridge, he like grew a really big interest in magic and the occult, and he found a group called the Golden Dawn with like a bunch of famous people from the day. Bram Stoker, the guy who wrote Dracula, was in it. W.B. Gates was also a member. He was like the highest member of the order. I don't know, man. Cults are weird.
Cults are funny, aren't they?
Maybe someday I'll get invited to one.
Yeah, we
don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Always drink the Kool-Aid. What you talking about?
That would honestly be like a really fun thing, I think, for us to do for this podcast would be to infiltrate a cult, you know? I mean, maybe though, because I've seen the videos of, you know, the documentaries of people leaving cults. And that shit doesn't sound fun, so maybe not. Maybe not.
The most prominent modern day cult that we know about is the Nexium cult, and they got fucking Keith Raniere, the guy who looks like he sells fucking car insurance, is the leader. Some 40-year-old, not attractive dude just leading the cult, having sex with all these hot actresses and shit.
And they still got, I mean, well, I wonder what those, because Nexium, how big? Do we remember how big Nexium was?
Oh, it was huge.
Like, I mean, I'm just trying to think of
like thousands of people.
So it's kind of on like not exactly on a Scientology level, but saying as if you leave the cult, are they going to try and hunt you down, you think? Are they on that kind of level?
No, they were branding each other. So,
well, I mean, that's just fun. Okay. That just sounds like fun.
You ever had a good old-fashioned branding?
I've never had a good old-fashioned branding.
Yeah, me neither. Maybe someday.
Didn't we brand Tyler?
I was not there, but he did get branded in a weird way.
I remember that.
In a weird way. Had to go to the hospital. But
yeah, it was really bad.
All is well. All is well. But
oh man. So he left the Golden Dawn and purchased a property at Lake Loch Ness and started doing a demonic ritual where he was supposed to conquer a demon. But he left the ritual early because he decided he wanted to marry this chick instead and fuck her in the pyramids of Giza. Back when you could still go inside of them.
Right?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah.
They didn't have security cameras and guards back in the day.
The stone temples or the stone statues were the guards back in the day.
People were like, you really don't want to go in there. Those things will fuck you up.
But yeah, he ended up having sex with her in this pyramid and doing blood magic. And she heard a voice that was the voice of Horus, the Egyptian god.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I don't believe you. And so he took her to the great Egyptian museum in Cairo. And she walked up to a statue of Horus and be like, "This is the guy that's been talking to me." And that's when he believed her. And the exhibit was Exhibit 666.
Interesting.
Yeah. Do we know if everything is true or false? We don't. If I was gonna make up a story, would I put that in there? Yeah, I would. Okay, but we don't know for sure. So who the fuck knows?
Well, I mean, they can go back and look at the museum records and say that was the exhibit number.
Well, that's kind of where I'm like, dude, I really wanna.
I want to believe that because
It's
whether it's coincidental or
that would be badass.
meant to happen, yeah, it would be badass.
That'd be real, just fucking straight bad to the fucking bone, dude. That'd be cooler than shit.
Yeah. And he basically decided that was the point where he was chosen to create a sect of beliefs based off sex and black magic.
Well, what a way to get started then, huh?
Yeah. If you're tuning in and you're confused, go back a week and watch the last episode. We're just kind of skimming over it to catch our boy Dana up.
To what we've already talked about.
I didn't do my homework. Just came into the pop quiz. At least I have my pants on.
Yeah, that's all you can ever hope for. So we what do we talk about? Fucking writing the book. He had this Horus guy who what happened? He
whispered in his ear for an hour every day from noon to 1, and for 3 days straight. And he jotted it all down and wrote basically his version of the Bible off of it,
which was really weird because exactly from 12 to 1 is when he was shooting up PCP, but no relation. I don't think PCP was a thing back then.
Oh, no, probably not. Definitely heroin was.
Good for them. I'm good for them for having heroin back in the day. Got to get through life somehow, you know.
So in 1905, this is like right after his revelation, he led an expedition on the 3rd tallest mountain in the world. And guess what happened to all the people that decided to climb a mountain with the wizard? They died. He got into an argument with them and basically was like, all right, well, fuck you guys, and went off in his own direction. And they decided that they weren't going to climb the mountain with him anymore and tried climbing down the face of it, causing an avalanche, killing 4 of them. And he was reported to have sat in his tent and drank tea instead of help dig them out, even though he could hear them screaming for help.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this guy was badass, dude. He didn't give a fuck. He was brutal, dude. Like, you want to talk about just straight up metal?
They call him the honey badger. Honey badger don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Dude, he did not give a fuck. He didn't give any fucks. Except when it involved pussy. When it involved pussy, he dropped everything.
Or buttholes.
Yeah,
he wasn't nervous.
Pussy or
So
pussy.
just from what I learned about him, they were saying in the documentary that he didn't really look for a relationship or like a mental relationship. He was just looking for he would get prostitutes whenever he wanted, just to curb the urge, just so he could focus on what he was doing.
Yeah, he would do that, and then he would have people around him that were just there for his companionship and to fuck.
Yeah. While he worked on his ritual.
I mean, that's the only people you need around you, right?
I think if you went and asked a lot of very successful people who just didn't give a shit, that's probably what they tell you. I don't have, friends or family. I'm too busy on my work. Here's my prostitutes right over by the pool.
Wolf of Wall Street style.
My drugs are in the Rari waiting for me to fucking kick it while I drive,
Well, dude, what's that scene when he's doing coke off of what's that fucking shit? Margot Robbie's chest, and he gets out of the limo and his wife's there. She's like, "Jordan, you piece of shit. Get out of that limo right now."
Yo. Oh, that's early in the
Wall
movie,
Street. Yeah,
it?
that's it's in the first 20 minutes.
Because then he ends it with her, and then he's with Margot Robbie. It's been a while though.
I haven't seen that movie.
It was an upgrade. Let's be honest.
I know Margot Robbie. I don't know who the hell played his ex-wife. No idea. Do we care? No care.
I mean, you put Pam Beesly next to Margot Robbie. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did what he wanted.
Yeah.
He's a badass. He just did whatever the fuck
He weighed
wanted.
his options.
Yeah.
I don't think he weighed his options at all. He just fucking went for it.
Full send all the way, baby.
I wish I lived my lifestyle like that. Just fucking no fucks given at all. I'd probably be rich right now.
Oh man.
Or doing meth under a bridge, because I feel like
it goes one or two ways.
I feel like it goes one or two ways. When you full send, you don't end up being a just fucking white guy
like
in a
the end up
neighborhood
under the
with a
bridge
family.
kind of guy.
Yeah. I feel like if I went full send, that'd probably be me. Be living back with my parents or something, which is okay. You know, they were good to me.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah.
So Crowley, after the expedition, was unbothered by the death of his companions and took his wife and newborn daughter to China. And once they were doing an expedition across, or like a tour across Asia, when they reached Vietnam, he abandoned his family and left with a mistress back for Shanghai. So he left his family for a prostitute and went back to Shanghai.
All for pussy, dude.
And his wife was unable to manage life abroad with her daughter alone. Her daughter ended up getting typhoid fever and dying. And Crowley basically was like, well, I don't have a kid with you anymore, so good riddance, goodbye, and left her for good. And she was mentally unstable from dealing with Crowley on a regular basis and became a severe alcoholic.
Yeah.
All right.
Could you imagine that, though? Like, waking up in the morning and being like, honey, what are you doing? He's like, I'm a fucking wizard. Leave me alone.
That's probably what he said if he was fucking on the heroines and shit.
Just on the cocaine. Dude had to have nasal reconstructive surgery like 3 or 4 times in his life from his severe cocaine use. Just fucking insane.
Right.
So that at that point, he went back to England, met a poet from Cambridge named Victor Neuberg, who was in love with him, and Crowley used his love to get him mixed up into black magic. He took him to the middle of the Sahara Desert, performed a sex magic ritual with him, and had him peg him in the butt during the ritual. In the middle of the desert while they were dehydrated and disoriented and had no idea where they were.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Sounds like a good way to spend a Sunday, right?
All right, so let's skip a little forward so we're not taking too much time. What'd you guys kind of leave off last time?
Okay, so I believe the last thing that we talked about last week was when he moved to a ranch on an island in Sicily, creating the Abbey of Thelema, which Thelema is the religion that he invented or made up, or
which is kind of like that's like him coming to full force of what he was like. Look at me now, Dad. Check me out. I got my own ritual place and everything.
And he had this is where he was first diagnosed with asthma and given heroin for his symptoms.
Yeah,
which causes drug addiction to go, because the doctor's like, here's some heroin. So he just went full bore and just really fell off the wagon.
Right. It says now if you take too much heroin, come back and we'll make sure to double the prescription.
Yeah, and so this is in 1920 too. So this is like
the good old days.
Yeah, so he's born in 75, so he's 50, 50, yeah, 55, something like that. Still just pegging people, getting pegged. But he would like make people take drugs and like stare at fucked up pornographic murals that he would paint and all kinds of shit and do sex magic with them there. And what they were doing was so bad that Benito Mussolini deported Crowley and his followers based on reports of human and animal sacrifices and unimaginable sexual depravity. We're talking about Mussolini here, deporting him.
So I'm kind of curious to hear because all I know is the shit he did with the animals for his rituals, but I've never really heard about who he was taking for these human sacrifices, these human rituals, like were people just throwing themselves at him saying, kill me, kill me.
I mean, one of his followers ended up dying because of the ritual, because he drank the blood of a sacrificed cat for a ritual and it killed him.
Yeah, don't let your kids around the cats, because if they accidentally drink its blood, You better.
Your
better
liver
crucify
doesn't
that
filter
kid.
that shit out. Yeah.
Send that kid to a fucking church ASAP.
Yeah, it was like he like died of extreme liver failure.
Freaking tard.
Yeah.
When does drinking cat's blood sound like a good idea?
It's just like him like reading a blank book. He's like, and it says, now you have to drink that cat's blood.
Can I look at the book? No,
he's just
only
like,
me.
Just like standing over and being like, what? How do you feel? What did it do? How do you feel? He's like, my liver is failing.
I feel a little woozy.
I'm feeling a little woozy, man.
Dude, I don't know. I just I couldn't imagine. How does anyone choke down cat's blood without throwing up?
I don't know. I don't know.
And how much did he drink? Did he literally like was fucking Crowley just over there just like chug, chug, chug,
No,
chug,
no,
and then everyone just starts screaming around
they,
him, and he's like,
we always do. Pack of cards and drinking games. Some little ring of fire action going.
Ring of sex magic fire. That was his game.
Dude, I'm just imagining that picture or that episode of South Park where they do the stem cells. Is it Al Gore that like rips their necks open and drinks all the blood out of the fetuses and shit?
That's Christopher Reeves.
Oh, okay, yeah. But that
Christopher Reeves. Oh, yeah.
that's all I can imagine. But like a cat.
That's unfortunate. I just want to know how much he drank. It had to have been a decent amount. He's like, can I stop drinking the cat's blood? The rules say you got to drink for about 10 more seconds.
The rule book that I wrote says no, you have to continue drinking.
We call it a waterfall. You don't stop drinking.
Literally, oh man.
You're not allowed to stop until I stop.
He's like, we're both drinking cat's blood, and he's like got a straw hooked up to a drink while he's like has it up to his mouth, like, this is good.
Yeah, you're worried about drinking Kool-Aid, Dana. They're over here drinking cat blood, dog.
Right.
So this is where we left off last week. So when they got deported, Crowley and Leah Herzig, his devout follower from New York City, they moved to France after he was deported. And he at the time was suffering from severe health issues from his drug addictions, including a deteriorating nasal cavity from severe abuse of cocaine. It's where he went to get his first nasal job. He needed it. That's a picture of him. By the way.
I'm surprised too. He must have done a ton of coke because that nose is huge on its own. That's a big fucking nose. He must have literally just been taking like clumps.
Have you never heard this lyric? So much cocaine, I need two noses. That guy had it. He had it all.
Fucker had a big face. Let's be honest. Probably just like fucking lay down, put cocaine right between his nose and his upper lip, because he has fucking hella space right there.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, nice little shave. I could probably pull that off for Halloween.
That guy's fucking face though. Look at how he just has a big fucking gross face. Anyone who would want to have sex magic with that guy, I'm sorry, not for me. Not with that guy. I think maybe when he was younger, he probably would have looked cool, like kind of like that cool, like freaking, skater punk kids rebelling and everything. And once he got to that age, it's like you're washed up, dog. Like take off the funny hats and robes, okay?
Do a kickflip or get out.
Right. It's not cool anymore, man.
So one of his followers while in France, Dorothy Olson, became pregnant, and Herzig was called to be the bed maiden for her, and there was a miscarriage, and after that Herzig decided that she wanted to spend a little bit of time away from Crowley, and so after she decided that, he kicked her out of the group after she gave him 10 years of her life. Can you imagine following this guy, letting him sacrifice goats on you while having sex with you,
making you have sex with animals and all this other shit,
and then he just throws her away just because she's like, I need some space. He's like, never come back here again, you fucking whore. And then she became a prostitute.
Yeah. Which,
I mean, where else is that life experience going to bring you?
True.
just imagine her like telling the first guy who's like banging her, and she'd be like, "Oh my god, this human dick is so nice. The last thing I fucked was a goat. The last thing that was inside of me was a horde of fucking animals. This is amazing." That guy was probably just like, "Tell me more."
Tell me more about what you did in Sicily.
The most interesting woman in the world, right there.
Nah, dog, that's Amelia Earhart.
I don't always fucking get pegged by goats, but when I do, I make sure to drink all the cat's blood.
I thought you were gonna say Dos Equis. So Crowley was deported from France after that, or shortly after that, based on his reputation. And before he was deported, he married a follower named Maria Sanchez so that she could move to Britain because he was born there. In 1930, he moved to Berlin, and he took on a new magic partner named Hani Jager. It's just a fucking stupid name. Hani Jager. I don't know, just German, so it could be Hani Jager. But they had like a really difficult relationship because I mean Crowley was used to being able to manipulate everyone and shit like that. This guy had no interest in being the apprentice. That's why they called it a partnership. So in September of 1930, Crowley faked his own death in Portugal with the help of a poet named Fernando Pessoa at the Boca do Inferno rock formation in Portugal.
That's just a lot of words to take in right there.
It's Portuguese, man. Boca do Inferno.
Boca do Inferno. Something Rocco Quario. I don't know, dude.
Yeah, I don't know, but he fakes his death there. But later he resurfaced 3 weeks after probably realizing no one gave a shit. I just imagine him. You guys probably haven't ever seen the video Jesus quoting Jesus.
Yep.
You have?
Yeah,
it's Jesus quoting a guy dressed up as Jesus in Hollywood quoting Kanye West lyrics.
I've seen a little bit.
There's one where he's like standing on the top of like the Hollywood Hills and he just like steps up behind a rock, goes, "Fresh out the tomb, bitch." I just imagine that. But Aleister Crowley.
"Hey, I'm back from the dead, baby."
"Fresh out the tomb, bitch."
Dude, I could imagine seeing that. Him just like standing at his funeral, like, this. I mean, it's not really important, but I'm just gonna show up and see who all came, and just sees like no one, and all right, this is fucked up. I'm coming back.
He's like wearing like a fake mustache and shit.
right. All dressed up, makes like an insane disguise just to realize no one's there, and it's like, what the fuck?
Not even that bitch I cut a goat's throat over while we were having intercourse showed up.
Which I wonder how much. So the only people who knew about him killing himself was him and that poet guy. Do we know if anyone else knew about, like, do you think he talked to his followers about it?
They said it was in Portugal, so would that have even reached back in the U.S.?
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, right? Like, who's going to be upset when they don't even know he's
Guys,
dead?
he did a lot of drugs.
He's probably high on fucking heroin back in, like, fucking the UK or something, being like, "Did you guys hear that guy? Aleister Crowley killed himself?" And they were like, "Aren't you Aleister Crowley?" No. No, that's not me. That's all I can think of.
Fumbles with his disguise. No, it wasn't me this whole time.
His hat falls off. Fuck. All right, you got me. You sons of bitches, you got me.
Oh man. So he resurfaced 3 weeks later to sell paintings that he had made for art gallery in Germany. It's called the Gallery Neumann and Neufeld. No, Neumann and Nierendorf. I don't know. Dude, German. Some of those names are just fucking crazy.
It's tough, especially back in the day.
Like old timey ones.
Right. You go to like Germany or something. There's guys that are getting named Jeff and shit. I mean, they just learn. It's just the easier way, dude.
Yeah. No one wants Johann Sebastian anymore.
Right. And if you do get named that, get ready for some fucking wet willies and some slushies or swirlies. Fucking, I can't get the name right. I wasn't a bully back in the day.
Some swirlies? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Like when you dip someone's head in the toilet and flush it?
Right.
Swirly.
Yeah. Everyone, I just must have been doing it wrong.
You ready for your slushy, bitch?
Yeah, I just fucking dump their head under the machine and I fucking pull the lever and they just drink as much as they can.
You just like hold their jaw open like underneath the fucking slushy machine at Casey's. And some girl named like Gertrude's like, "What are you doing?" You're like, "Shut the fuck up, bitch. I'm bullying over here."
Dude, that's awesome. I gotta give that one.
It's come and goes, bring your own cup day.
Yeah. You never specified what the cup had to be, okay?
My cup is a backpack. And Richie. Richie is my cup.
Nice.
All right, Richie, I'm thirsty. Bend over.
How many US American dollars is it going to cost for me to just have you look the other way while I hold this guy's head under here? Like not even mouth open. You just like have their head under there and you just like pouring a slushie on them.
That wouldn't be a bad video. Just like going to different gas stations, be like, if I gave you $50 right now, would you just turn the other way so I could go use that slushie machine?
Give me 5 minutes of that slushie. They'd be like, "Are you gonna fuck my slushie machine?"
I feel like everywhere you go, they would just fucking they would take it. If I was in that job, I would take it.
All right, we're going to Casey's after this.
Oh god,
Testing this out.
I don't want to spend $50.
I'm just gonna walk in. How many US American dollars will it cost for you to look the other way while I use your slushie machine?
I'm not even going to tell you. You just have to pretend like you're going to stock some cigarettes or something.
Stay tuned on Twitter to find out.
Exactly.
Dude, maybe someday we'll have to give that a shot.
I'm down.
We'll have to have hidden cameras, though.
I'm always down to do some dumb shit. You know that.
Oh, God. That would be actually really fucking awesome. We'll figure it out. To be continued.
So, to be continued in Berlin in 1931, Crowley took on a new lover. Her name was Bertha Bush. By that name, you could tell that she was probably a Viking. Mm-hmm. They had a very, very violent relationship and often beat each other, like beat the piss out of each other.
Is that why Michael was saying the other day that he thinks that fucking George Bush would be like related or something, or could be? I don't know.
No, it's spelled different. No, that's way different.
That was some guy, wasn't it? That he said they thought that they looked alike or something.
It was Barbara Bush.
Barbara Bush or some shit like that.
Yeah, but it was like her mom practiced in the cult that Crowley was in. The OCO, I think is what it was. The same one that L. Ron Hubbard was in.
Right. I didn't know he was in it. I thought he just like practiced or like got inspiration from it or something.
Yeah, he was like a member of it or some shit like that. Yeah, the guy who made Scientology.
Right.
Student of Aleister Crowley. Fucking wow, weird how that turned out.
I swear to God, it's just all it is these people that aren't at the top level of their cult that are just like, you know, I could really do a better job running a cult than this fucker. Like, this guy's doing sex magic and stuff. I'm just like, dude, let's just do sex.
Why does
the magic have to be a part of it?
We'll get Tom Cruise on Oprah. We'll pray to a guy that's floating in a pyramid in space. It all works out.
Yeah, I don't know how Tom Cruise gets around fucking being a Scientologist. Like, everyone just has to look at him and be like, this is the craziest mother. This is like serial killer level shit. But honestly, Tom Cruise is probably raking in the bills. He's sitting at the top, you know. He paid his money. He's probably like one of the biggest shareholders, you know.
Yeah.
Imagine how many people probably joined Scientology because of Tom Cruise.
Probably a few.
Yeah.
I mean, Mission Impossible 3 was a big blockbuster, so it was around the same time.
I think it's probably more than we think. I'm actually going to look into that after the show.
Yeah.
If I remember, which I probably won't. But.
So he continued to have affairs with both men and women while he was with Bertha Bush. And while he was in Germany in 1931, he became very close friends with people of the German far left. If you guys don't know anything about the German far left, in that time period, it was the Nazi Party. Crowley became friends with the Nazi Party.
Of course he would.
Along with like everyone else, though.
I mean, with a guy like this, you knew Nazis were involved somewhere.
Right. If Nazis weren't involved, that would be weird as fuck. Let's be real.
I just can't wait to hear how they kick him out. Like, you're a little too much for us, buddy.
Adolf Hitler was like, "You are too much for me. Can you get out of my chambers?"
Dude, that's fucking awesome. Probably like met Hitler. Hitler was just
you
like,
are crazy. You're crazy person. You are too crazy.
Yeah, you're a crazy guy, dude.
I just want to have German shepherds and gas of the Jews.
Yeah, dude. Think about maybe I'm trying to remember how old Hitler would have been compared to Crowley. Because Crowley was 50s and about the 20s?
Yeah, so he's probably like 55 now, I would think, at this point in the timeline.
Yeah, so then Hitler would
need
have
a whiteboard.
Right. We need all the fucking connectors in the back.
Like the Charlie Day level of like strings. And have so he's like, "Who is Pepe Sylvia?"
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly think Hitler would even be fucking repulsed by this guy. Everyone would.
Well, yeah, because he'd be trying to peg Hitler.
He's probably running around trying to catch Hitler, like, "Come here, Hitler, come here." And he's like, "No, get away from me, you crazy Jew."
Photo, come here, photo. He's like,
"You crazy Jew, get away from me."
In a nightgown with that fucking weird hat that he wears, like
Right,
the Boris hat.
right.
Photo, come here.
Photo, where are you?
Just chasing him like, "This is my master race."
I will get you.
Dude, I can only imagine. How fucking great.
You just have him talk about that ceremony that I did in the desert with that one guy. Be like, "Look, if you want to see God, you have to fuck me in the desert." And Hitler's like, "Get this Jew out of my office."
Actually, I don't even know it. Where was he born again?
Crowley?
Yeah.
He was born in England.
Okay, right. Yeah, that's crazy, dude. I feel like when we talk bad shit about Hitler, we should have been talking about this guy. Kids are probably naming their sons and daughter, or people are probably naming their kids after Aleister Crowley.
They do. He's a huge occult icon nowadays.
But
Well,
yeah, you can't get Hitler
named,
on a birthday cake.
Everyone's
Come
named
on.
Crowley. You still have people named Aleister. I mean, somewhere.
Yeah, when's the last time you met an
in the US.
Adolf?
Oh, I'm sure everyone stopped that after yeah, that's not a good one. We're just gonna 86 that from the world.
No more Adolfs.
We should be call up a cake place and see if we can get a cake made, one with Adolf Hitler, and then one with Aleister Crowley.
Just call Hy-Vee Hy-Vee Bakery. We're like, "Yeah, I need a birthday cake. Happy 13th birthday, my little sweet boy Adolf Hitler."
I think it'd be great because they'd probably be like, "No, thanks. We're probably not gonna do that."
Could you make that phone call without laughing though?
I don't know. It depends. I think
I could, but I would want to do it on speaker, and you fucks would be laughing.
Oh yeah, I couldn't hold it.
I think as long as I didn't, it would have to be a special place for me to say it. I'd have to get really in character. But I think it would be the best thing ever. And then think about it. They turned it down, but call them again. Be like, "I need a birthday cake with happy blood, sex magic, Aleister Crowley or something." I don't know. Something wild.
Happy 13th birthday. May you forever practice blood, sex, magic.
And then on the cake, I need a dead goat cut in half.
That's what. All right, so my brother over here is a baker. You need to start baking cakes and just being like, yo, check out my designs and have cakes for Hitlers and Crowleys and
Just do the most controversial stuff.
Controversial cake. That's the name of your store.
Controversial cakes. That'd be fucking awesome. Just have a bunch of cupcakes with swastikas on them. Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
I mean, regardless of what business model, that's not going to work out.
I think it would be a really
You have
surprising.
You have one major client base, and then
Yeah, and you don't
about
want
it.
that client base.
No, like you'd have the Nazi client base. You'd make other cupcakes with like. I'm not even gonna get into this. It's just gonna sound bad.
You already went into it.
I could have gone a little further, but I think we'll save that for.
Look tomorrow on the channel for Dylan's 5-second apology video.
Yeah, they fucking wish. Someday, if they ever get huge,
we were
and they're
talking
gonna
about
look
that
back
at
on this
work.
episode. Were you?
Yeah, the other day we were joking about that. It's like we came up with this great idea about Dylan making a 5-second apology video every Tuesday and sending it to me, and I'll just put it on our channel. I'm sorry for what I said on the podcast. I got really drunk, said some things.
Sorry about
Peace.
saying that we'd make cupcakes with swastikas and white hooded KKK members. It was a bad idea, and I apologize. Done. That's a public apology, right there. No one. I can't get in trouble for it. That's the plan.
Yeah,
anyways.
that's the law of America. If you say you're sorry, you're in the clear.
Right. And I'll do some fucking
Debatable.
I think at our level, it wouldn't really hit us until if we ever just got huge and blew up, and then it came back on me. But I'll worry about that later. I'll be older. I'll be like, it's some shit I said when I was younger, okay? You guys said the same thing about Carson King. He apologized for it. I'm here apologizing on the same grounds that he is, okay? Cut me some slack. I was 25, okay? I was still growing, all right?
I was just a kid. So Crowley left Bertha Bush. God, I love that name. It's starting to grow on me.
Bertha Bush.
In 1932, and he went back to London. This is when the Second World War broke out, and Crowley again offered his service as a spy to the Naval Intelligence Division. But again, they declined him. And when the Blitz hit London, Crowley relocated to Torquay, where he was again hospitalized for his asthma. And this is where he started using heroin heavily again.
Because the doctor was like, what were you taking back in the day? Well, heroin. Lots of it.
What did they prescribe you in 1910 again? Heroin.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like black tar? No. Yellow cake, Chinese imported heroin. Just the good stuff.
Yeah.
Us chasing the dragon and seeing aliens, baby.
Right.
Worshipping the devil.
Dude, what a great way to spend a lifetime. For some people. For me, probably not, but for some people, there's some people probably like, God, dude, this guy lived.
Yeah.
This guy lived. He seized the fucking day, dude.
Yeah. So he got bored of living in Torquay, and he returned to London, where he was visited by an American follower named Grady McMurtry. And he and his new band of followers decided that they were going to sell thelema tarot cards based on and designed by Aleister Crowley and painted by Farida Harris. Crowley was very intrigued by the rise of Nazism, and he hoped that Adolf Hitler might convert to thelema, and he revered Hitler as a black magician.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was a Hitler fanboy.
Oh my gosh. Das Fur! It's me, Aleister. I've read all of your stuff.
Did you get my letters?
I read Mein Kampf. It was great. Here's my Bible.
Just a few keynotes, but
Yeah. Oh man.
wait. So was he on the side of the Germans? I can't remember when he was He was supposed to be a spy for the UK, but wasn't he?
He worked for a paper in New York called the Fatherland during the First World War. And he was trying to keep America from joining the Allied forces. That was basically what his job was.
Was he trying to? Okay, yeah. But yeah, I mean, what did Hitler do for like for like magic, for like magic and stuff? We all know he killed Jews.
Well, he was really good with choreography and talking in public.
Fuck, the way that you said that was just fucking... Wait, like, what did Hitler do?
But like, did we ever hear about him?
Stop.
Did we ever hear him doing anything with like fucking magic and shit like that?
Oh, man. I don't know. I mean, they did sacrifice like 7 million people.
Do you think they did?
I mean,
They
if
probably
if there was any ritual involved, it would have been 7 million people ritually sacrificed. Outside of that, it's just they murdered 7 million people.
Yeah, I don't know. What I think we got to look into that a little bit, see, because
there were a bunch of like big battles, and World War II fought over like ancient Christian relics, like the Spear of Destiny. Like there's this huge like a documentary about there was like a 4-day battle between was it General Patton and the SS forces over this museum in Italy or some shit like that, where the Spear of Destiny was supposed to be held, and they were literally just fighting over the Spear of Destiny for 3 to 4 days. And, like the crown jewel was held there, like all this like weird old timey like Catholic shit.
Right, dude. That battle would have been intense. That's like some capture the point type shit. Like they're fucking talk about this like trying to kill the other person, but like this is over an item in a city, in a museum. Shit was probably going nuts, dude.
Yeah, but like they were like
it's just the raid item.
They're trying to get that fucking rare drop, dude.
Mm-hmm.
There were like whole sections of the SS Army just their job was to gather occult items from all religions and everything that they could find.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that could give them power.
I mean, after the first time of getting one of these items and like trying to rub it and shake it and blow on it, being like, wow, these things don't really work, do they? I'd have been like, all right, guys, we're done. Let them fucking try and get all this shit. We're just going to fucking invade people. Sounds like the right idea to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But yeah, there were whole sects of like the German army that were dedicated to like occult shit. It's great. Like they were into it. Like, I don't know. It's weird, like to think to be back in this time.
When you believed so hard that these artifacts gave you like magic and shit like that.
Yeah. Could you imagine that if someone handed you like a fucking stick and was like, this stick will let you know if everyone is lying to you?
And then you just walk around. Holy fuck, everyone's lying to me. This stick works. I can tell you're lying to me.
Someone's like,
you guys aren't really my friends.
Someone just like walks up to you like, hey man, I like that shirt. And then like it's like Regina George. He's like, that's the ugliest fucking shirt I've ever seen in my life. And he's like, bitch, and you fucking walk.
Don't ever lie to me again, bitch.
You'll see what happens.
Dude. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Germans were onto some shit, though. So, I mean, who knows?
Yeah, they invented meth, which gave us Adderall.
Wow.
I mean,
I'm going to dedicate cleaning my room for the first time in a month to the Germans. You guys earned it.
Oh, fuck.
So, where are we at with Aleister right now?
We're talking about Bertha Butch.
Oh, his next girl, his next lady.
Well, that was his last, like, well, it wasn't his last lady, but it was one of his last ladies. Or main
mates or some shit. Main hoes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at this time, he's broke. Like, he doesn't have any money anymore. So he's just basically living off of, like, followers and shit, like donations from followers. Living with, like, basically getting boarded by people that like his books and want to fuck him.
Right.
And he's just a leech at that point. And I mean, I kind of fucked this up in my notes in the timeline, but earlier he had declared himself to be the death of Christianity, and he was supposed to be the palate of the man that would replace Christ.
Huh.
Fun fact. He was, God, where is it? He had burnt through all of his inheritance, self-publishing his books, mainly publishing his 11-book set called The Equinox. And his drug addiction and self-publishing put a hole in his pocket. And he spent a lot of time in his late life on petty libel lawsuits, trying to like reobtain his fortune, saying people in the paper were writing lies about him and shit like that.
Mm.
And that's where he met his last wife. Crowley, during one of his many ridiculous libel cases, met a woman named Deidre Patricia Daughtry. And she offered to bear his child as he was leaving a courtroom. She came up to him and was like, I love you. I want you to have my kid, or I want to have your kid.
Was this the bitch that was rich? Or was that before?
She could have been wealthy. I don't know. All I know is that she came up to him and was like, I want to fuck. Let's make this happen.
I think this was the chick that was rich, that had a lot of money. Maybe. Could be wrong. But why wouldn't you? You know, he's like, no thanks, and walks outside and sees her getting into her Lambo, and he's like, ooh, hey, yeah, actually, you want to go back to your place?
Oh, hey, how's it going now that I see you in a limousine?
Right. I can't remember. It was something. Was this the girl that he had like something? I thought it was. He said, "You can bear my child," but there was like something that he said had to happen. I don't know. Some prerequisites to the agreement. I have no clue. I don't remember. Because he was poor at that point. Like, that's when he was low. And I remember him
he was
talking
living
about
in like communal houses and shit like that.
Right. But then I think he got with some chick that had a lot of money and like took him in and housed him and
Could
shit.
be Miss Daughtry.
That's sounds like it to me, dude.
So in May 1937, a child named Randall Gare was born, but Crowley called him Aleister Ataturk. That's how it looks. I don't know, man. I need to have someone read some of this shit to me. Like, some of the names that he came up with were just fucking ridiculous.
Wait, so he called his kid
Aleister Ataturk.
Ataturk.
Yeah. Ataturk. Ataturk.
All right.
Ataturk.
It's weird that it doesn't have either of their last names.
I like Ataturkey better.
Ataturkey. Where are you aiming at, Ataturkey?
Yo.
This is the only child that he ever had that people said that he cared about, too. Because I think he knew that he was dying.
Getting older.
Yeah. So Crowley based so much of his ideals and his obsession with sex and wrote an entry in his journal called Weak Erection.
Nice.
Saying that he knew his time was coming. And the day after he wrote that, he slipped into a coma. The mother of his last-born child was with him the next day when he died, and she said that the curtains blew out of the window, like something rushed out of the window and took the curtains with them, and lightning struck, and then Crowley was dead.
Damn.
Which would also be nuts.
Yeah.
Do you think he was still into that point in life when he was about to die? If he was still hardcore into his, fucking sex magic and like
ritualism,
ritualism, or was he kind of calming down? You think at that point in time, like, would he have been like, okay, honey, remember, tell everyone the curtains blew out and lightning struck, and then I died.
I don't know, man. I mean, he wrote a journal piece called Weak Erection, talking about how his erection has died and so must he, or some shit like that.
Nice. He just
a poet.
Part of him is like some guy like just he's either some guy who's fucking serious or some guy who's just crazy looking for attention. Like he just seems, I don't know. Just this picture right here that we have, if anyone could see it, just looks like
This looks like the kind of man that just did what he wanted. He didn't really have a plan. He just kind of.
But who also
made
said
shit up along the way.
Who also said like, take this picture of me. I don't like that one. Take another one. No.
Now this is like the second one here. He took a serious one. He's like, all right, now let's do a silly one.
Let us do a silly one, please.
Dude, that's this guy. The weirdest fucking man, dude. Anyone who likes that shit, follows what he did, he's got some mental problems. The only reason I could see people following his shit would be like, I mean, if you literally followed all of his shit, like, you just are fucked up. You need mental health. You need to go to fucking psychiatrist or something. Get on some meth, dude. Not the LSDs. You'll look at his murals and you'll get sucked in too far, dude. But maybe the mess wouldn't be so good either, because then you'd be drinking cat blood. I don't know, dude. His whole life was fucked up.
I mean, that's what happens when you worship what he worships.
Yeah. So are we on to him next? Like we made it up to his death. Do we have any of the worst things that he did coming up, or?
Well, I feel like the worst things that he did was ruin the life of everyone that was around him.
Pretty much.
I feel bad for the animals.
Yeah. Hey, a sacrifice is a sacrifice.
Unless the animals liked it, you know. No, not the sacrificing part, but everything else. Hopefully he fed them right, but
Otherwise, PETA would be pissed.
right.
Yeah, organic, non-GMO food just to be sacrificed.
PETA's like list of top 10 offenders. He's like number 5.
It's like rural farmers, cosmetic companies, drug companies, Aleister Crowley.
Dude, I mean, why not? Probably everyone got in their head after listening to him was just like, oh my God, dude, we should be sacrificing animals. Why didn't we think about this?
Oh, man. Yeah, it's crazy. His ashes were sent to Karl Germer, who was a magician from the German sect of the cult that he was, or not. I don't know whether to call him cult or society. I don't know. Whatever they were, he fled Hitler because Hitler was like, "You guys can't practice magic because we're practicing magic," and basically broke up their sect of the group. So he ran to America, and Aleister Crowley's ashes are buried in a garden in Hampton, New Jersey.
Which is crazy. Did the grass grow on top of it?
I don't know, man.
I'm sure everything's probably dying around it, huh?
That's all I could imagine. Picture.
Everything you touch dies.
Okay. So we got to think what the theme of today's episode. Aleister Crowley Part 2. What would be the theme of today's episode, Dana? I'm looking at this cannonball and I just want to drink it, you know?
Maybe we'll come up with a theme after a shot.
Well, you don't get to take it until you come up with the word of the day. That's the point of the word of the day. You don't get to drink until after you say it.
So you got to think, Dana, what have we been talking about today?
All right, someone grab my dictionary.
I thought you were gonna say I thought you were gonna say someone grab my dick for a second. Well, you're sitting next to your brother, so
yeah. The only
things are about to get really Crowley in here.
Fucking call me Aleister, dude. I'm going in.
I'm going in.
Let's see. Were we close at all?
Oh yeah, a couple times.
Oh god. I don't even know. I'm 100% lost. Usually we have kind of topics around it. This is just a bunch of fucked up shit.
Mm-hmm.
We already said goat's blood.
We talked about cat's blood.
We didn't talk about the goat's penis. That's where you missed out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally something that we need to talk about.
I like the milk that comes out of the goat's penis.
What? You guys never tried fucking male goat milk? It's fucking great. Yo, we said Hitler, we said Jews, so it's not those two.
We talked about swastikas a lot.
We did. We talked about, what else do we got? Well, what's I can't think of the group. The hat that he's wearing, the fucking...
The Golden Dawn?
No, the triangle group. I can't even
The
remember.
Illuminati?
The Illuminati.
It's not Illuminati, no.
I mean, I feel like plenty of people on the internet would beg to disagree with that hat. I don't know. I'm at a loss.
Just think about sacrifices.
Sacrificing Jesus on the cross, dude? Dana, think about sacrifices.
Oh, it's very it revolves around sacrifices. The word of the day does.
Fucking.
I'm just gonna be trying to think of this the whole fucking time.
That's the story of my life. All I think about is the word of the day. It's very hard to stay on topic when I think about this. Gosh damn. We said meth.
Meth doesn't have to do with sacrifices.
You always.
We talked about
Always-
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah, not.
All right, think blood, sex, magic, sacrifices.
Blood, sex, magic, sacrifices. Yu-Gi-Oh?
We're leaning more towards what I want to just give it to you because that's less fun, but I want to take this shot because I'm
Don't
interested.
give it to us. We just, I mean, we might need a little clues on
Might
this.
take a little minute, but-
Blood, sex, sacrifices.
Blood, sex.
Does it have to do with Aleister Crowley, like in his this kind of topic?
It has to do with the sacrifices. Like what do you sacrifice to?
Oh, Satan? Or the devil?
How do we not
The
say
word of
the
the day
devil?
was devil or Satan would have worked
How
too.
did it take us that long to say that?
I don't know. I really thought you were going to like way early.
Because all the way to the end, we have to.
I also would have accepted 666. Or
I already
the
said-
Yeah, we didn't
You
say
already
the
said
beast
that.
or 666. Oh yeah, well you said you did say that in the beginning. Oh well,
did you?
but
Well, I
it
actually
was
don't think
Satan.
we were rolling. So
Satan or the
probably
devil.
wasn't.
So I mean, that we didn't say that. That's
Oh, well.
unfortunate.
We made it.
We said Hitler. I mean, people would call him Satan.
Cheers.
Shot of the day brought to you by Cap Morgan Cannon Blast.
God, that's dangerous.
Whew. Yeah, I like that.
All right. So back in the man, the myth, the legend.
The man, the myth, the Aleister Crowley.
So Aleister Crowley died in 1947, but he's been an icon for rebellion ever since. David Bowie, Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, Black Sabbath, Jimmy Page have all been influenced by the message of freedom that he kind of put out there. John Legend called Aleister Crowley a personal hero of his and put his picture on the cover of the Sgt. Pepper album.
Which, I mean, had a bunch of other people on it, right? From what I remember. I think there was like a bunch of people on there. But he was just one of the people in the back or some shit. He didn't want, like, Aleister Crowley's direct face on the album. He was like, yeah, this guy didn't age well.
Yeah.
We'll just shove him in the back row.
Well, it's just like the story of his existence or what he stood for. It's just like anyone that is rebellious or the occult, anything like that, like they all took a liking to it.
Right.
It's weird.
I mean, it makes sense. Like for us these days to rebel, we just got to listen to the right music and wear dark clothes. But back then, when they were looking to rebel, they were like,
do something. You couldn't just go to Twitter.
yeah, fair enough. They thought this guy's pretty cool. I mean, fucking sacrificing animals and fucking drinking their blood. Like this guy lived, dude. That's like all I could think about what goes through some of their heads is them just like thinking this guy really just fucking lived.
I mean, he did whatever he wanted to until he was poor, and then he just still did whatever he wanted to.
Which basically sums up like almost every fucking famous rock musician.
Yeah, well, he spent his like life creating a following, expended all of his riches getting that following, and then lived off of his following at the end of his life.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy stuff, man.
Right. It's kind of how I think about who was it when was it Vanilla Ice fucking went broke, fucking started doing a construction show or some shit. I don't know. Like I said, any famous musician just basically is the same story. They all probably feel for this guy.
Yeah, probably.
They all made their sacrifices.
Right. They probably did. Think of how many fucking famous people were sitting there like, dude, I will do anything for my career to get big. Like, how many of those fucking famous rock musicians were like doing rituals and shit, and then they got famous and were like, oh my God, it worked, you know? Holy shit.
It's just like the Beatles got together, like, I heard about this chap from the other side of the river.
And what was that movie with Megan Fox, Jennifer's Body?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Transformers, but yeah.
No, that's pretty much what you're talking about right there.
Jennifer's Body, it sounds familiar.
Is she a vampire or some shit like that?
No, she's just a regular bitch in high school. This band needed a groupie to sacrifice to make their career bump off, and they do it. Something goes wrong, and she's still alive instead of dead. So
and super hot.
Yo, I think I remember that shit.
So they get really famous. They get up there, and then towards the end, like her best friend kills her, gets her powers, and then goes and takes out the band members at the end of the movie.
I might remember that. Never mind. I don't know.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, thanks a lot, dude.
You're welcome.
This movie was probably what, like fucking 10 years ago?
Oh yeah, it's old. It was like right after she was in Transformers.
Damn, that's a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
My God, how
still can't believe they
old
replaced her in Transformers 3. That shit fucking.
I mean, they had to.
She was a diva.
Well, yeah. I heard that she and the director Michael Bay just didn't get along.
She got fired by Michael Bay, and then she got rehired to do TMNT by him. And then was she in the second one?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Oh my God,
yeah, she like apologized to him, and she got rehired by him to do TMNT to play April O'Neil.
Nice.
Yeah, she was in the second one too.
Oh, okay. Because I thought that they got into it again after that.
Everyone hates their boss. It's just
I love all my bosses.
It's just the way of life.
But yeah, I guess
I'd prefer not to.
I've had a lot of bosses that I could care less about.
Yeah, it's very rare you actually come across ones that you're like, all right, I mean, I don't love these guys, but they don't fucking piss me off to the point where I fucking have to, fucking break some shit.
Yeah, I had a boss where I almost got buried alive, 12 foot deep in a ditch. And then I called him. I was like, hey, we can't do this right now. Like, it's caving in too much. And he told me to sack up and get back in there. And I was like, nope, never working for you again.
Mm-hmm.
You worthless son of a bitch.
Yeah, I hope you're listening, you piece of shit. I'm about to do this ritual. It's going to blow your fucking mind, dude. Just got to find me some cats.
Me, Dana, and Dylan are about to make what's called a Langle sandwich.
Is that some sex magic going on?
That's sex magic.
Nice. I heard about that.
Kind of magic.
I read about that actually. Sex magic's pretty intense.
Sex magic is the most intense magic there is. I don't know about you guys, but I don't take it lightly.
Hey, me and Dana have plenty of fingers, bro. You're welcome.
Oh man, this is going into a weird direction.
I'm gonna start creating some robes and some role playing shit. I'm gonna start performing some sex magic of my own.
Just remember, an assload of dildos is only one dildo.
All right, everyone. Thanks again for jumping in for another episode of the WRK podcast. This marks the end of Spooktober. So next week, we're going to be jumping back into the conspiracies, doing some fun shit.
Doing some good stuff, some controversial shit.
Yeah, every week here at the WRK podcast should be controversial. Just because we take it there every time.
Right.
But yeah, as always, follow us on Twitter at WRK Pod, Instagram at WRK Podcast. Hit up the Patreon, patreon.com/WRK Pod. And yeah, hit up the website, WRKpodcast.com. I don't know about these guys. I kind of feel like playing some video games. So I'm going to start loading those up while you listen to these groovy tunes and we end the show.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, we'll catch you next week. Stay sexy, my people.